things a little differently today. I'll be the first speaker, and I'll apologize in advance if I cry during the speech. I put a little bit of heart and soul in it because I've been doing this for a few years now. Okay. Hold on. Just got done with the podcast. I'll have to get me all crazy. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you all for coming out today. We are going to get started. My name is Christy Billett. I'm the founder and executive director of Pennsylvanians for Safe Access. We're a volunteer citizen cannabis lobbying and education organization. We are comprised of a group of professionals, disabled citizens, veterans, and key cannabis business members. We have held town halls, press conferences, rallies, and helped get key pieces of Act 16 passed right here in Pennsylvania. This chapter was started after being inspired by Americans for Safe Access training in 2014. I did my very first press conference right down here in the East Wing in 2014 with Derek Rosenwig and Philly Normal, and it really inspired me. We are standing here, but we represent so many that can't stand up for themselves, whether it be out of fear or literally the ability to not be here physically with us because they are so sick. We're busy doing things like taking dialysis, chemotherapy, organ transplant, steroid bursts, or are just too weak to do anything besides treatments. We are so thrilled to have Act 16, but we feel so left behind. Are adults not important? I literally know 10 patients right now going through the ARD process in courts for the presence of THC in their toxicity with no alcohol, may I add. A veteran, 26, a disabled veteran, 46, a retired businessman, a cook at a local restaurant with Crohn's disease, patients, adults, people, real people. What about the adult patients I stand here for that can't stand for themselves? Like Tori, a 25-year-old epileptic, me, a 36-year-old with PTSD and chronic pain, my husband, a Marine veteran from Operation Iraqi Freedom with PTSD, Diana, my friend's dear daughter with intractable epilepsy, Donna Marie, a PTSD suicide survivor mom, Jenny and her opiate problems, Mike and his pain med addiction, my friend Susie with her MS, my breast cancer patient, my brain cancer patient, my leukemia patient, all still waiting, praying every day for the safe harbor to cover them so that they can worry about dying and not going to jail first. Our brothers and sisters on parole and probation with health conditions, a lot of them DUIs from cannabis, and addiction issues using cannabis instead of pharma, are getting forced back into the system and put back on the very drugs they are running from, the pharmaceuticals. I've watched miracles happen with marijuana. In legal states, I've seen it here also being done illegally. It is not okay that we pay every day with our lives to live freely from chemicals. Why is it illegal for us to use a plant you could grow in our garden to heal ourselves? There is no such thing as non-medicinal use. Everyone has to learn that we are not going to go away with this. We are not going to stand down. We stand for too many people to let them down. Today, 1 year ago, I was in Hanover holding a rally and a protest to change the medical cannabis laws in Pennsylvania. And I vow that next year we will motivate the masses, we will hold town halls in the areas of in the no areas, we will write letters to the editor, call senators, house reps, we will show up in offices, we will have postcard campaigns, and we will not go away. I vow in the next 2 years to get statewide decriminalization of cannabis for up to 30 grams here, statewide in Pennsylvania, like it already is in State College, Pittsburgh, and Philadelphia. We also seriously need to revisit the cannabis DUI laws in Pennsylvania. I challenge the fact that they are still charging people with a Schedule I drug, driving under the influence, when in fact they are contradictory to their own laws now that Act 16 really is a law. Schedule I means no medicinal value, yet we have a medicinal law. Let that sink in. There's an amazing lawyer, Patrick Nightingale, who will be arguing that very impact in a court right here in Pennsylvania within the next few days. Can't wait to see the outcome. Statewide decriminalization can save the state millions, if not billions of dollars a year in court costs, judge fees, etc. Philadelphia has saved itself at least $9 million in the last year alone since they've enacted the decriminalization ordinance. We can do the same across the state. Every year we are in the red with our budgets. By all means, let us pay our taxes. Just legalize it already. We want to bring back jobs and bring back the infrastructural funding. We need pot tax for potholes. We need to make our money work for us. We need to be on the forefront of this opportunity. Colorado has had full legalization for a few years, and the sky hasn't fallen. Their economy is booming. Their roads are amazing. The population and building industry is booming. Why are we taking a backseat and losing our valuable citizens who want to be able to enjoy cannabis recreationally without being arrested? The 2016 election has made a serious difference across the nation for marijuana laws. Officially, 4 states voted to allow medicinal use, including Florida, Arkansas, Montana, and North Dakota. 4 other states voted for full legalization, these being California, Nevada, Massachusetts, and Maine. This leaves us with just over half the U.S. having medical cannabis, and 8 states having full legalization now. Although most legalization has previously been mainly on the West Coast, the East Coast has said with this election that it's time for us to blaze on, and blaze the saddles on the West Coast now as well. We are here today to remind legislators of what is right. For the people, by the people. That's why we come to this Capitol over and over again. Just like we did with medical, we will do the same for decriminalization and food legalization. I started lobbying for gay marriage rights in this very building 19 years ago. And 3 years ago, I started lobbying this building for medical cannabis. Today, I stand here lobbying this legislature to change the unjust laws. Decriminalize first, change the DUI laws immediately, and consider the revenue from the taxes of full legalization, with the benefits of no longer wasting taxpayer dollars on non-violent, victimless crime. We have a horrible heroin epidemic in this state. Cannabis could severely help in so many ways. Before I close and hand the mic on to our next speaker, I want to share 2 stories with you, and then I'll wrap this up, I promise. One is a 63-year-old retired man who loved antique cars. He spent his whole life doing things for others and walking with Jesus. When he was diagnosed with cancer, he fought with all his might. He beat it for a while. He called me one day out of the blue, and he wanted to meet for coffee. I met with him. We started talking about cannabis oil and how he believed it could help him because he had gotten the news that things had progressed again. We left on a see you soon, and I told him I had a friend that if he decided could help, and to just let me know when he had finally decided. This was in April, after one of my rallies. He died in August. He never did call. I know why. He was a very straight and narrow man, but he had done his research. He was educated. The last thing I will always remember him saying to me was, "I just wish it was legal. Then I know my wife wouldn't be mad at me." To me, I couldn't imagine how a wife would be mad about someone trying to live to have more time with them. But I guess I can see, being straight and narrow, how it could just be out of their norm. I will miss my dear friend very much, but I am haunted daily with I just wish he would have called. The second story I will keep anonymous, but I'm sure a few of you will put the pieces together. One day, not too long ago, at one of our press conferences in East Rotunda, we were getting ready to pack up and head back to Central PA after a busy day here at the Capitol. As I walked through, I noticed a girl on her cell phone, about half crying, and as if by whisk by God, I walked right past her, not even thinking. She reached out and touched my arm and said, "Are you Christy?" And I about fainted that she knew my name. But she explained her story and asked me if I could help her. She was an addict. She wanted help. She needed treatment. The facility she was trying to check into wouldn't take her simply because she had cannabis in her system and had been using cannabis to self-medicate to wean herself off of the heroin. She was refused treatment and sent on her way. I spoke with her for quite some time and sent her to a few offices that I thought would maybe get her some help. I got her name and I got her number, and I left her on her way knowing that she was going to one of her good friends here in this building. A few days later, God told me to check up on her. And out of the blue, I messaged her. And the message I got as a reply changed my life forever. She said, "I am so very glad that you texted me today to check on me and that you have told me you have been praying for me. It is probably the only reason why I'm still able to reply. When I couldn't get treatment, I hit rock bottom and I overdosed, and my fiance found me lying in our bedroom, and it took 3 vials of naloxone to bring me back to life. And now they're finally going to get me the treatment I need, and thanks so much for praying for me. I truly believe that's why I'm here." I dropped to my knees, sobbing when I read that message. I threw my phone. I was sad. I was mad. I couldn't believe that Pennsylvania had left this girl to die just because she had cannabis in her system. This girl had to die for 10 minutes and take 3 vials of naloxone to bring her back in order to receive treatment. But then I thought, because we've been doing this for 3 years in the State House, hundreds of thousands of future medical cannabis patients are also being left to die or go to prison or commit suicide because legal issues scare the hell out of them. These are patients I fight for, the ones no one sees, and the stories that never get heard. Last week alone, I went to 2 funerals of very good friends of mine. This epidemic reaches all corners. Cannabis can help. Let us make adult decisions. It is more responsible to consume cannabis than to use alcohol, and you can buy that soon at every grocery store throughout the Commonwealth. We have to start putting people first. We need to stop arresting consenting adults using cannabis. If I can go to a shop in Colorado and hand them a Pennsylvania driver's license and leave with weed, smoke that weed legally in Colorado, and then come back to PA, if I get pulled over within 30 days of consuming, I am still DUI in Pennsylvania, even though I legally consumed. That is absurd. And these are the things we will help change here. Pennsylvanians for Safe Access vows to come back in 2017-2018 session and fight for realistic, fair marijuana legislation. I have a few more speakers. The next one will be Zick.
Make this short and sweet. My name is Zick. I'm from Susquehanna County, where we let energy companies destroy our environment daily, and we also lock up nonviolent cannabis users. This is the problem, folks. This is Harrisburg's problem. I don't know about you, but I'm sick and tired of being harassed. I'm sick and tired of my friends in legal states enjoying freedoms that we in Pennsylvania lock our brothers and sisters up for. It's not right. It's not new news either. Everybody that hears this knows this. There's something else going on here other than people not knowing or the information not getting to them. We all know this. There's money behind it. Big money. We need to end this. If this past election didn't let you know that big money's out there ruling things, then I don't know if you are paying attention to the news. It's scary. And it's a damn shame. We need to join the other 7 states and the District of Columbia in legalizing adult recreational use of cannabis now. We demand our rights to interact with cannabis by allowing adults to grow their own. Purchase cannabis from well-regulated stores. You know, is this too much to ask? No, it's not. It's not new. It's here. Pennsylvania can lead the green rush. And I expect nothing less. Thank you. The next speaker is going to be Derek Rosewig.
Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. Just grab my notes real quick. So, today we're here to talk about the next steps for Pennsylvania, the next steps for the nation when it comes to marijuana. Marijuana prohibition is now officially untenable on a federal level. More than 1 in 5 Americans lives in a state with legal recreational use of marijuana, and 28 states now have legal medical marijuana. President Obama himself said that the federal government will not be able to handle such an inconsistent set of laws. And President-elect Trump himself may be open to positive reform, but his cabinet most certainly will not. They could rescind the Obama-era memos, such as the Cole memo, or try a top-down scheme to incorporate pharmaceutical interests. We really don't know at this juncture. But barring a change in the scheduling system on a federal level, for statewide legalization efforts to work, federal banking laws must be modified to allow for state legal marijuana businesses. And we must get out of the cash-only mentality quickly for these businesses to thrive. Marijuana legalization is a surefire way to bring us as a community together after this arduous and emotional election, which I'm sure everyone here has very strong opinions about. Nationwide support for legalization is at 60% according to the latest Gallup poll. It's higher than ever recorded in American history. In May 2016, Quinnipiac University ran a poll which showed that 57% of Pennsylvanians are in favor of legalizing here in the state. Also, the largest number of supporters ever in Pennsylvania history, with only 39% opposed. Today, total legal states are up to 8, including plus Washington, D.C. The new legal states being Maine, Massachusetts, Nevada, and California, joining Colorado, Alaska, Washington, and Oregon. The Pennsylvania legislature already has a history enacting positive, albeit imperfect, change on marijuana policy when they legalized medical cannabis with Act 16. And there's still a lot of work to do on that front as well. My predictions for what's next on a national level on the East Coast, I think by state legislature, we're going to see Vermont legalize marijuana next in 2017. New Jersey or Delaware will probably follow soon after, followed by the other. We're expecting New Jersey to go legal as soon as Governor Christy is gone. And Delaware, most likely by 2018, if everything goes according to plan from what we've been seeing in the press. And we could also see some positive action happen in Connecticut. Their governor recently said they're going to have to revisit the marijuana issue now that Massachusetts and Maine have legalized it, and those states being in such close proximity, that's a huge cash opportunity for them. We could also see Pennsylvania legalize it by 2019, and that is my goal personally, as well as that of Philadelphia Normal and Pittsburgh. And we could see New York join us by 2020 as well. On the ballot, we could see Ohio do it or try for it in 2018 or go again in 2020. We're not sure. There's a lot up in the air, and it all depends a lot on what the federal government does over the next year. So what's the path for legalization for Pennsylvania? The first step is to immediately decriminalize small amounts by making it a summary offense. And to that end, we are pushing for Representative Ed Gainey's House Bill 2076, which would simply make marijuana possession of small amounts a summary offense and make it a maximum fine of $100. That's the perfect, quick change that the legislature can implement immediately for maximum benefit, while we give the legislator a chance to do their due diligence in looking at a legalized cultivation and distribution options for a legalized and regulated setting. We hope to get this passed by the end of 2017, pushing this from the beginning through. And we need to persuade the Republican majorities that the moral issue here is not marijuana use, which cannot be controlled, but the arrest and jailing of those who choose to use it. We know for a fact that the negative impact of the penalties far outweigh those of occasional use. We also know for a fact that prohibition doesn't achieve its purported goal. And we need to make sure that they know that endorsing or co-sponsoring legislation for legalization does not equate endorsing the use of cannabis, and that the public already knows this. And this isn't about culture anymore. Everybody smokes weed. Everyone smokes weed. It's everywhere. People just hide it out of necessity to survive because their jobs require it, because they have kids and their children could get taken away if, God forbid, the government finds out that they puff a joint once in a while. And to make it clear to the legislature, decriminalization is not a means to revenue, but criminal justice costs can be expected to decrease by no longer prosecuting marijuana offenders for small amounts. Second, we intend to move the Cannabis Prohibition Repeal and Comprehensive Reform Act, or CPR-CR Act, in the House, and Senate Bill 528 in the Senate. We hope to get that passed by 2019 as our long-term goal. We want to ensure that includes a good home cultivation allowance using canopy area limits instead of plant limits, and no arbitrary possession amount limits. Massachusetts, for instance, their new law allows individuals to possess up to 10 ounces of flower, a pretty good amount, but still arbitrary. We want to use this opportunity to design a good distribution system that can be synced up with plans for the Liquor Control Board system, as long as they're in good faith, in line with a consumer-friendly environment, and allow for the proper competition by small businesses. Revenue will be made here by wholesale tariffs and retail sales tax, employee taxes, and other business-related taxes. This is the cash cow, distribution and cultivation for the state. When federal legalization happens finally, and economies of scale are finally possible, we'll have a law in place so that farmers across the state can grow fields of cannabis outdoors, helping hasten the price drop to its natural level. And we need to work on ways to make legalization small business friendly. Not all marijuana-related businesses will be storefronts or farms, so there's going to be lots of opportunities for businesses to get in on a legal marijuana environment. Now, to get to this point, we as a state are going to need polling for legalization to surpass the 60% mark regularly for the legislature to take this issue seriously. That support could swiftly increase with these new 4 states in the mix. And if you recall, Quinnipiac recently showed that 57% of Pennsylvanians are already in favor. So we're almost there. It's going to happen pretty quickly. Philly Normal, in conjunction with other activists throughout Pennsylvania, intends to begin holding and planning educational events throughout the state over the next year or two to help accomplish this goal, to raise the education level, to get us so that we can actually get to the point where legalization is something that legislators want to talk about and see a path to successful enactment. We also need to persuade the Republican majorities that if Pennsylvania wants to benefit most from the newly developing industry, we must do this before New Jersey and New York. Cannabis could be a huge export for us, and under the CPR-CR, that would be possible. And the CPR-CR, again, is being sponsored by Representative Jordan Harris. Farmers, in particular, would benefit immensely from this. Once it's decriminalized and people can have it without getting arrested, it stands to reason that harm reduction is the next logical step. We can't do that under prohibition's opaque black market, but we can under a legalized and regulated one. For most people advocating for reform, money and economics are not the primary motivator. The vast majority of the activists here simply don't want to see people in jail for marijuana. We don't want to see the state wasting money arresting people for marijuana when we know it doesn't work. But from a consumer standpoint, which is what NORML represents, getting marijuana in a prohibition environment is not hard. But you have to jump through all kinds of hoops and pay an enormous, artificially high amount of money for the product. Joe Schmo, who has no regular marijuana hookups, buying weed to smoke once in a while, is generally not going to know what he is smoking with any confidence and will be paying a heavy markup. Consumers would otherwise be spending that difference in money on other things, contributing to increased economic prosperity. It's known as an opportunity cost in economic terms. Legalization brings the option to buy it from a store where they keep regular hours, charge sane prices, have all kinds of options. Everything is clearly labeled, and the products have been tested for contaminants and potency of major cannabinoids. It's really not that hard, and not that much to ask. It really isn't. Personally, as an ideal, I favor a complete removal of marijuana from the PA Controlled Substances Act, followed by an amendment to the Pennsylvania Constitution asserting the right of adults 21 years of age and older to be allowed to legally grow a 50 to 100 square foot canopy area garden to give away, possess, smoke, or otherwise use cannabis, similar to what Colorado did. From there, a framework of light regulation for cultivation and distribution of consumable cannabis and extracts, as well as for public consumption